Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. China has accused the G7 of political manipulation after it criticised Beijing over a range of issues. At the end of a 3-day summit, leaders of the G7 countries urged China to respect human rights and fundamental freedoms. Issues highlighted included abuses against the Uyghur Muslim minority group and the crackdown on Hong Kong pro-democracy activists.
I think we're in a contest, not with China per se, but a contest with autocrats.
US President Joe Biden said he was satisfied with the statement's language on China. Beijing accused the G7 of baseless accusations and said to stop slandering China. Meanwhile, as the NATO leaders' summit begins, the head of the Transatlantic Security Alliance has urged members to confront the challenges of China's rise. Leaders posed for a socially distanced photo at the start of the talks.
China is coming closer to us.
Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said that NATO leaders are expected to brand China a security risk at the summit.
We have new challenges.
US President Joe Biden wants to create international blocs of democratic nations to act as a counterweight to China's authoritarian system and its fast-growing economic and military might.
I think that China is, as I've said many times, a gigantic fact in our lives.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said NATO did not want a new Cold War with China, but admitted Beijing posed challenges for the alliance. Israel's new Prime Minister has promised to unite the nation after years of political stalemate. Right-wing nationalist Naftali Bennett will lead an unprecedented coalition of parties that won a confidence vote by a razor-thin margin of just 1 seat on Sunday. He succeeds Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's longest-serving Prime Minister, who was forced out of office after 12 years. Hundreds of Israelis celebrated in the streets with the end of Mr. Netanyahu's mandate. The trial of ousted Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi has got underway 4 months after a military coup removed the elected government from office. The popular politician will face trial in a court on 5 charges, including the illegal possession of walkie-talkies and breaking coronavirus restrictions while campaigning for elections. Military officials have also accused her of corruption and violating the Colonial-era Office Secrets Act. She is facing prison sentences that could put her in jail for the rest of her life. Police in Nicaragua have detained 5 more prominent opposition figures in what critics say is a crackdown on opponents of the country's presidency. Several former allies of longtime President Daniel Ortega were among those arrested. In power since 2007, Mr. Ortega has been accused of suppressing dissent and political opposition to his government ahead of the poll. An American father and son have admitted helping the ex-Nissan chief escape from Japan in 2019. A former US Special Forces veteran and his son were extradited from the US over claims they smuggled Carlos Ghosn out of Japan in a luggage box on a private jet as he awaited trial. They face up to 3 years in prison. The former Nissan boss is an international fugitive living in Lebanon, which has no extradition treaty with Japan. Algeria's Ministry of Communications has said that the accreditation of the TV news channel France 24 has been cancelled. A government spokesman said that the international news channel had shown clear and repeated hostility towards Algeria and its institutions. The move comes a day after parliamentary elections were held in Algeria. The turnout for the election was registered at around 30%, the lowest for 2 decades. Marine biologists are investigating a mystery skin disease afflicting white-tip reef sharks in Malaysia. Some early reports suggest that rising sea temperatures could be to blame. Researchers found that the sea surface temperature at Sipadan Island had risen to 29.5 degrees Celsius in May, a degree higher than that in 1985. The sharks are typically found resting around reefs in the day and are a popular attraction for divers. And finally, the return of the Cliff Diving World Series has made a big splash in France. After a 21-month layoff, the opener for the series' 12th season took place near the town of Saint-Raphael on the French Riviera and saw 12 men and 12 women compete from platforms as high as 27 metres. The public admired and cheered the daredevils from canoes and boats as they made acrobatic jumps from the cliff into the sea. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.